Right, EA is going to be sold to Saudi Arabia. Weird. Everyone's freaking out about it, though, in terms of, well, people in the business. Anyway, as you can see, EA employees reportedly panicking over Saudi-backed takeover. It's going to get worse. Well, this is pretty major, to be honest. Madness. Absolute madness. Not a huge surprise. The video game industry has been just falling apart because you've been pursuing a narrative that people don't want, right? Obviously. I've actually compared it to the movie industry for some time. I've said, hey, the video game industry is basically speed running the movie experience because movies started to pursue lectures, agenda over sort of financial reward. You know, we'll push this narrative at all costs, regardless of profit. You know, video games started to do that, and because the market's much smaller in terms of the demographic that actually purchases movies, they out and out rejected it post haste, and boom, video games started to implode real quick, and now movies have started to catch up to that, even though movies started doing it first. But nonetheless, let's take a look at this because this is madness. Hit subscribe if you're new here, and turn those bell notifications on. So, Electronic Arts has announced its record-breaking $55 billion buyout led by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Silver Lake, and Jared Kushner's affinity partners. But beneath the big numbers is a dangerous detail. EA will be saddled with $20 billion in new debt as part of the leveraged buyout. That financial burden has Mass Effect fans panicking, and with good reason. I mean, it's pretty major anyway. You know, this article is looking at it from the perspective of it being bought out and the debt there. I mean, well, primarily it's the debt. And I'm looking at it from a perspective of it's being purchased by Saudi Arabia. You know, like, can these things not be purchased by these places? That'd be great. Like, what? Okay. So after the catastrophic failure of Dragon Age: The Veilguard, many worry that BioWare won't survive the squeeze. Mass Effect 5, already in development limbo for 8 years, could face crippling cuts or worse cancellation. It could, but I will also hasten to add, they've bought it for a reason, and with new money, you know, yes, there's a debt, but with new investment, they're going to want to pump this stuff out, but change course to make it more profitable. Now, that could be good or could be bad. It is actually up for debate. Like, we don't know. It's a matter of perspective at this point in time. So, as this article says, the debt changes everything. So, a leveraged buyout means the acquired company ends up carrying much of the debt. In EA's case, that's $20 billion of obligations to service, a weight that will hang over the publisher for years to come. But it may also squeeze them into being more like actually profitable, pushing them to make things better. And that could be good. But I still don't like the fact that it's being owned by Saudi Arabia. So when revenue is strong, debt is manageable, but EA's track record with recent releases has been rocky, and failure is an all too real possibility. If key franchises underperform, the easiest way to protect margins is to slash costs, and that usually means gutting studios, which, true. Like, that is true, yeah. But some of these people deserve to be fired anyway, right? Some of these people don't deserve to have their jobs. Now, they should be firing executives and decision makers over the grunts. Not all of the grunts. Some of the grunts should be fired as well. But you get my drift, right? The people that were making these dumb decisions and choices to make this stuff that has proven to be a disaster for these companies. So for BioWare, the studio behind Dragon Age and Mass Effect, this spells disaster. Its recent track record hasn't exactly inspired confidence, and its reliance on identity politics storytelling in Veilguard backfired both critically and commercially. And that's why this could potentially be good, at least for gamers, because they could, you know, be pushed away from that. I still don't like the fact it's owned by Saudi Arabia. I don't like that. I think that's bad. I'm just not a fan of it. Again, there's pros and cons behind it. I just don't like foreign companies, foreign nations owning these kinds of things. It's like when the equivalent to me of China buying stuff. I don't like China buying stuff either. I don't like them getting a handle on this type of market. It's not something I'm for. I'm just not for it. You know, you can push a lot of propaganda, which I know is hypocritical because these companies have been pushing propaganda anyway. Yeah, I get it's hypocritical. I don't want any of the propaganda. So obviously this, you know, could spell disaster for Mass Effect 5. Yeah, that's bad. So they say this. Here are the most pressing dangers. Scope reduction and feature cuts. Yep. Asset recycling. Yep. Forced monetization. Yep. Talent attrition. Yep. Delays and staggered launches. Yep. Micromanagement from investors. Kind of do that anyway, but fine. So there you go. There's that. But currently, what's going on now? Well, EA employees are just panicking, right? It's going to get worse, they say. It's going to get worse. Oh, no. You might have to do some work that is actually decent. So analysts are currently split on the move. Financial experts are far from united on the buyout. Mike Hickey of Benchmark told the Associated Press that the deal looks like a self-serving, opportunistic move by management and the investor group. Yeah, probably is, obviously. By contrast, Freedom Capital's Nick McKay offered a more optimistic view, claiming that the move would allow EA to increase its focus on long-term growth. Maybe. Maybe. So it's a debate that has real stakes. EA's flagship soccer franchise, now branded EA Sports FC, just launched its 2026 edition last week. Next month, Battlefield 6 is set to arrive in an attempt to once again challenge Activision's dominance in the military shooter market. The stakes for both titles could not be higher as EA prepares to enter its new era under foreign ownership. And that's the thing, you know, when you're releasing like war games and things like this, you know, a power like Saudi Arabia being in control of that narrative, yeah, it's not, yeah, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it, personally. But anyway, so you had Andrew Wilson, EA CEO, gave a message to staff and said, "This moment is a recognition of your creativity, your innovation, and your passion. Everything we've achieved and everything that lies ahead is because of you." Interesting. Our values and our commitment to players and fans around the world remains unchanged. That's a whole lot of waffle, isn't it, mate? So GameFile spoke with several current EA employees who painted a very different picture. One worker didn't hold back and said Andrew Wilson basically said F you to all women and LGBTQ employees at EA with this deal. This was, of course, a remark on Saudi Arabia's history of strict gender segregation, limited freedoms for women, and harsh punishments for same-sex relationships. Yeah, but you're not moving to Saudi Arabia, you retard. A record that stands in stark contrast to the progressive image EA has cultivated over the years. Which is true, like, I agree with that, right? Like, that is a contrast, but they're not going to make you move to Saudi Arabia, so shut up. You're a pleb. Another was blunt about the toll on morale. It just shows how many people have been collateral this past year for executives to make out rich. Now, that is true. The executives should have been fired as well. Like, they were the ones that directed these degenerates and these ideologues to push this stuff. Right? They should have been fired, but they weren't. So, what can you do? Nothing feels great, and we know when the deal closes, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. If better is even possible. And another one says, I'm nervous about what this means in terms of workplace once the deal is closed, as layoffs usually follow those types of acquisitions. Yeah, it's true, and some of you should be fired. And on a personal level, those future owners are really not in line with my values and beliefs. Well, you should probably just sack yourself then, shouldn't you? So there you go. I don't like this deal. Just because I don't think Saudi Arabia should be owning things like this. I think it will fundamentally change things. Potentially not for the better. I don't care too much about the debt. I'm not interested in that. It's mainly the fact that foreign power will be in control of something like this and potentially push propaganda. I know it's hypocritical. Shh, I don't want any propaganda. But push propaganda to the youth. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.